Okay, so this is the last part. This is the last example, or last examples, A and B. And to be honest, these ones are going to be a little more involved. Again, we're just going to be looking for slant height and the height for A and B. Notice that these have triangular bases. So I need to figure out what this length is. So again, I'm still going to end up having my right triangle that I'm going to take out at the end so I can use Pythagorean theorem. But let's see what happens. I'm going to try to fill everything in. So the height is 30 units long. So the height here would be 30. I'm looking for L, the slant height. But I also don't know what this length is yet. So to find it, I'm actually going to have to look at the base here, okay, in 2 dimensions real quick. So I'm going to redraw the base out. And notice you see that root 3, that might kind of remind you of something we might have to do. So all of these sides are 32 root 3. Okay, I have this length here, which I'm looking for. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my radii for this equilateral triangle. So I'm going to end up making a special right triangle. And then I'm going to come back after that, and when I find my length, I'll plug it into this and use Pythagorean theorem. So, to figure out which special right I have, I'm going to have to do 360 divided by the number of sides to find my central angle. That's 120. So this is 120, this is 120, this whole thing is 120. All right, but I'm going to cut that in half. So then I cut that in half and I get 60. Now that I have 60, I know that for this little right triangle here, this is 60, this is 30. This length is half of 32 root 3, so that would be 16 root 3. And so now if I take out that triangle, remember that I'm just trying to find this length here. So I have 30, 60, 90. Across from my 60 is 16 root 3. So if I quickly make a chart here, I'm just looking for my side x. So if x root 3 is 16 root 3, that would make x just 16. So this is 16. And now this length here is the same as this length here, which is the same as this length here. Okay, so this is 16. So no, kind of a lot of work. But the last thing we got to do is just Pythagorean theorem. So if I do Pythagorean theorem now, I'll get 16 squared plus 30 squared equals L squared. And if I do some math, I'll end up getting the square root of 1,156 is equal to L, right? After I've taken the square root of everything, okay? And I end up with L is 34. So my slant height is 34. Okay, so again, I know it's kind of involved, a lot of stuff going on there. And if you want to pause it to write this down, that's fine, but I'm going to erase it so I have more room for part B, or letter B. So just erase everything here, read the question, figure out what we're solving for, and do a similar setup. Okay, so for B, it says the perimeter of the base is 60 root 3. Again, perimeter means all the way around that triangular base, so we're going to take 60 root 3, divide it by 3, which will give me 20 root 3. So each one of these sides is 20 root 3, and it's an equilateral triangle again. So just like last time, I'm going to go ahead and to the side first to make my right triangle. It says I'm looking for the height, so the height is h. I'm given this slant height of 26. I also don't quite know what this length is again, so I'm going to make my base and draw it out. Draw my radii. From the previous part, we already know that the central angle is 120. Again, we already know that this will then become 60, 30. This is half of 20 root 3, so that's 10 root 3. And if I take out my 30, 60, 90 triangle, oops, 60. I'm just looking for this side again. So if x root 3 is 10 root 3, then x is just 10. So this is 10, which means that this down here is 10, which means this is 10. So again, Pythagorean theorem now. So h squared plus 10 squared equals 26 squared. And when I solve for h, I'll end up getting h equals the square root of 576. And I get h is equal to 24. So my height is 24. And that's pretty much it. So I know I kind of skipped through some steps here and there, especially with Pythagorean theorem, but it's just the same stuff we've done before. So that's the end of the video. If you guys have questions, make sure you ask them on Classroom, or go to, or I guess not go, but show up in the Zoom tutoring sessions. And that's it for Nets and Pyramids.